them out on Facebook? Are we going live?
We're going live.
We're going live.
We're going live.
Okay, are you ready to go live? Are you all ready to go live? Yes. Are you ready to go live?
I don't know.
Live. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
We're on?
Oh, wait. Give him a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, should we go?
Yeah, let's please. Okay. Live from the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles. It's I Want My Lauren. Yeah, come on. Yeah. So Lauren, it's your first time at the expo. Are you excited?
Well, it's my first time speaking here, but you actually showed me this expo last year.
I did. I should have got a commission for showing it to you this year. But anyway, you're an influencer. People love you. They follow you. And this is a spiritual sort of conference. What's your big message to the audience?
My crowd is that social media isn't just social media. You have to be super aware of everything you do online because it could come back around to haunt you or it could hurt your growth.
Mm-hmm. So what should you be aware of so it doesn't come back around?
Everything.
Like
everything. Like everything you do, every picture you like, every person you communicate with, what you say during your streams, what you have on TV behind your streams. There's lots of tips and tricks to social media.
But how did you build such an amazing following? That's what I want to know. And also talk about your YouTube channel where we met. So here, talk.
Yeah.
Talk to you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. Wait, Alan, are you going to talk about your? When I heard that Alan was going to introduce me.
Yes.
He has his book, which is actually did you win the award already?
You won the award.
I was going to tell him to vote for you. I didn't realize it won already.
I actually won the award for the Conscious Life Expo.
Oh my goodness! Congratulations.
You can contact. You can still get it on Amazon.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Alan is amazing. I actually met him at the YouTube space in New York City in an elevator.
That's right. And she was all covered up. I said, "Wow, who are you?" Because I knew she was hiding something, and now I know what she was hiding.
But let's talk a little bit about your channel, because being on social media, it's finding your niche and being really specific about it, and Alan is just a perfect example of that.
Right, so my whole focus was what's going on, what are these UFOs about, who's talking to them. So this book is about a survey of all the top experts in the field, and that's been my focus, and because it was my focus, a publisher came along and said, we want to publish that, and that's really what happens when you're focused on one thing. You become the expert in that one thing, and people want to know what you know, so it's been really a fun journey.
But you've had amazing people who have done the foreword for your books.
That's
now,
right.
Because you're my prime example here, how did you get those kind of people? Tell them a little bit about it.
Like George Norrie. Do you know
Yes.
George Norrie?
Deepak
Chopra. Well, you know, I've been going to these expos for 25 years, and you just become part of the fabric, and you get to hang out with Deepak Chopra or your friends, or you go to lunch, and you know, they see you enough times, they'll say, you know, instead of, hey, who are you? It's like, oh yeah, I remember you. And then you get friendly, and then you ask them to write the foreword to your book, and they say, sure, we're friends, we had lunch. And it's schmoozing. No, but in a good way, because I'm really interested in this subject, and I want to know what people know, so I interview people too. So it's 25 years of development, of, you know, meeting Deepak Chopra and those people, and just vibing on the same level. And then I interview them. I've interviewed Deepak about 25 times, and then I said, I have this book, Deepak. Remember all those interviews I did with you? How about doing one with me? So, you know, it's fun. You get to meet people.
And now, so your YouTube channel is New Realities. Where can they find you? Is it?
YouTube.com/New Realities. I think you've been on my show a couple.
Yes.
You and George have been on my guest with your healing.
So Alan does all, he basically, what kind of channel is it? What genre would you say?
I would say this is a metaphysical, spiritually based genre that has a little bridge into the UFO phenomenon, which can be a spiritual awareness. So the book takes that perspective, how UFOs can increase our awareness of the bigger cosmos. So it's not like, oh, there's aliens. It's like, no, there's something else going on here. That's perspective. And that's what my show New Realities is about. How do we widen our perspective? Perspective is just what we notice, and how can we notice more of reality? That's my point of view.
And one thing I love about his channel, this isn't going to be all about you. This is just you right here. So I was
all
just
about me. No, it's all about you. No, go.
He has this amazing show about healing, and
that's right.
yeah.
So people call me up and say, I want to be on your show, I can do this healing. So this guy, he was Irish, but he was living in Bulgaria, he says, I can heal animals. And poor George needed a little healing, and he sends love and energy to animals. Were you there when the dog with the broken paw started to walk? And,
No.
Oh, that was really dramatic. But he really wants to work with animals or people with...
What's the best? Where do you go to find a good social media person to help you?
Right here, Lauren Francesca.
So basically, you help out with a program or a system for somebody, be it a book or a service.
I think we're going to start that moment. Then we're going to go into that.
We're going to get into that.
But yes, we do heal animals, and I mean that's people on my platform are healers.
And he just does a bunch of amazing different shows within his demographic, and because of that, do you think that your fans voted for you? Or
Absolutely. You know, there's unique demographics out there. So my demographic are people who've had spiritual experience, people who've had healing, either are healers or have received healing, people have seen UFOs and know what vortexes and energy. It's all about energy. So if you're aware of energy, there's a huge demographic that there's no real mainstream to go to. So I provide that for people, and it paid off.
how many subscribers do you have?
Well, not as much as you. I'm really embarrassed.
Well, you have a lot.
Oh, I have 80,000, but that's, you know, it's something. It's not nothing, but it's not really something. No, it's, you have how many subscribers?
I have a lot.
A million. You have a million?
Well, on Facebook I have 2 million, and on YouTube I have over 300,000 on one and 150,000 on another.
I want to be you. That's great. Congratulations.
Well, Google your name, you'll find me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. If you
Lauren
Google,
Francesca.
if you Google me, you'll find me. It is interesting.
You have so much to share. I'm
Yes.
going to let you do
All
your
right,
thing.
everyone,
Thank
make
you.
sure you follow Alan. Thank you for coming. New
Yes,
Realities.
New Realities. Buy my book. Making Contact. Thank you. I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ooh, thank you, Alan.
Thank you,
Let's
Lauren.
hear some clapping for him, because he gave me some clapping. Okay. All right. So I have been doing social media probably since 2007. And I have just seen so many different waves of the internet that I realized that you kind of have to just ride them. It's not about posting, because you could just get so tired of posting. And it could totally wear you out, especially if you're posting stuff and then you put all this energy into a post and then you see it doesn't do well. And then you'll do a random post that took you 2 seconds and it'll go viral. That's kind of been my experience of social media. But it's to know what to do when those posts do well and know what to do when the posts don't do well. And to also really look at the algorithms that you're on. Now, I have a 6-year-old niece, and when TikTok came out, I said, oh my goodness, I have spent so many years growing all these different platforms, and now there's another platform. And I thought, well, if my 6-year-old niece can do TikTok, then so can I. So it's really just looking through an app and figuring out ways to kind of get yourself featured on the app. And it's also knowing that these companies spend millions of dollars developing algorithms and trying to get behind the algorithm before you're doing the posting. Now, the reason that I wanted to talk to Alan was because he has a very specific thing that he is doing on his channel, and because of that, he was able to kind of break through the waves. It's very hard to make yourself go viral in comedy. It's hard if you have a business or a store to get other people interested in what you're doing, but you have to stay positive and you have to kind of understand what it is that you should be posting, and also how to deal with a lot of negativity out there. Because I have seen so many people blow up on the internet, and then all of a sudden they start getting these negative comments, and it just becomes this thing where it's kind of taking over your life. So that is basically my experience of the internet. I started doing comedy, which is awesome, and I love making people feel better through my content and connecting with people. But then I realized that it's easier to grow if you're doing a very specific thing. Like I have friends who do law of attraction stuff, which does very well. I have friends that do planting and gardening that does very well. The gemstones, they do very well. So it's figuring out your niche, within that aspect of a bigger niche. Anyone have any questions? I don't know if I explained that right.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
So you're saying just like hyper focus on a very specific segment, niche of what your whatever your passion is, whatever your yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And if you have more than one thing, be very specific and divide it into different niches, right?
yeah, and it's so I have a bunch of different YouTube channels because I know how YouTube's algorithm works. So if I were to just do comedy on one channel and then my reaction videos on that same channel, my other videos would suffer. So it's also understanding that it's also being super specific and say, like, let's say you're doing beauty and fashion and then all of a sudden you want to change it up and do something and do video games. You're gonna lose members of your audience. So you have to just be very aware of what it is that you're going for, whether it's for your business or if it's for another thing like just a hobby that you want to do, and you have to look at other people. And that's one of my tips is look at your favorite person within your niche. And there are programs out there. There's one called vidIQ where you can basically look at what people are tagging with on their videos, and then you can try to make your videos come up related next to them. So this is just YouTube right now, but and it's also kind of growing that audience and pushing them to a platform. And at places like this where there's so many different people, it's great to network and see what other people are doing and maybe even interview them. As Alan said, you got Deepak Chopra from coming to stuff like this. You never know who you're going to meet, and also you never know what people are going to end up doing. So it's definitely really, really cool to kind of do that. But there are so many other areas and aspects of it. You know, you look at these kids who kind of went viral on TikTok, and it's like, okay, how do I become the first person on a new app to blow up? So one of my tips is every day I look at the App Store and I see what's trending, because that's how you know what people are kind of doing and searching for. I remember I was one of the first people on Musical.ly back before it was TikTok, and just making sure you get your names, all your socials are the same, and you get yourself out there. One of the ways that I kind of really blew up my brand was from Facebook. So Facebook is an amazing platform, and you can join groups on Facebook to promote your company. You can have a like page. You can tell your personal friends to join groups. You can share stuff, and now they even have stores on there. It's definitely awesome. And now for people with businesses and brands, we have Amazon Live. So Amazon Live is also really cool because you can just direct people to your Amazon store and sell whatever it is that you're going for. The problem is how much time do you have in a day to be on all these platforms? One of the things that I did when I first started out, I couldn't afford an assistant because I've been doing this for a very long time. So I got an assistant in the Philippines, and she was a lot cheaper, and she would help me share my videos across the different platforms, which really, really helped. And it freed up my time so I could make more content, to the point where I finally started making money on my channels and making money on my brand. So then I was able to hire a real person in-house to be there and kind of be my voice. Now, when you asked, how do you find a person to manage your social media? It's a very loaded question, because if you're doing something on social media, you want to be the picture of it. You want to be the face of the brand. And when you're hiring somebody, you don't know what they're writing. You don't know what they're posting. A lot of people that you do hire, if you don't pay that much, it's like, okay, are they going to spell wrong? Are they going to do something to embarrass the brand? You have to be so, so, so careful. So a lot of my friends, when they say to me, Lauren, I want to hire someone to do my Instagram, to post for me on Instagram, and I tell them that is just not the way to do it. I think it's good to get advice from people for social media. There's so many experts, especially online. You could go and you can Google different YouTube videos about how to grow your brand, depending on which kind of platform you want to be on, whether you want to go on Pinterest, whether you want to go on LinkedIn. There's so many different people out there that are specialists. But when you're having somebody post for you, it's a little bit harder. So it's mainly about scheduling a time each day to do your social media, to make sure you do it, to be consistent. Because when you're not consistent on social media, not only do your fans fans not like it, but the algorithm doesn't like it. So you kind of lose watch time, you lose related videos, and you just start going down, 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 and then all of a sudden YouTube will stop suggesting your videos in their feed. Instagram will stop showing people your content. So basically one of the things how it works is when you're posting on social media, they see, okay, are their followers liking or commenting or favoriting the posts? Everything is kind of a math-based algorithm. And if your fans aren't interacting, then they're going to be less likely to show up on their homepage, less likely to show up on the Explore page. So you have to just be really aware. So there's other ways to kind of get it out there. There's sharing in your stories. There's cross-promoting from different platforms. There's other ways to kind of draw traction. Any questions? Oh, good, good, good. Okay, so once you start sharing, yeah.
I have a question. Is it okay to do one of these where I get very busy working on like projects at work, and then I take a vacation, and then that's when I like to do my social media and posting, and then go kind of like quiet again, like crickets. Is that okay with the algorithm or not really?
Not really, not really. The algorithm wants you to post every single day. That's what the algorithm likes. Or if you're on YouTube, maybe once a week, you can do once a week, but generally it's going to favor the people who are posting more often.
Did you hear about the TikTok shutdown by the government?
No.
Okay.
When?
Some dude, I was just talking to him yesterday, and he said that they will, the government, the U.S. government has found that TikTok is a serious security breach, and they may completely close it at the end of the year. And I don't know.
Well, this is the thing. They've been talking about this for a while, and they haven't done it. So there's been a lot of my friends who actually went on TikTok who didn't have a big following or fan base, but then were able to transition that fan base over to YouTube or over to Instagram. Or they'll just post the same reels on Instagram. Now, I make my money on social media, so it is really cool that I'm able to do this. It is scary because I remember I spent, so many hours on Vine. I was a Viner. I was going to Vine conventions. I was collaborating with all the big Vine stars, and then all of a sudden they shut it down. But I was upset. I had all these really cool videos with people that I could place on my other platforms. So I think we can't really worry about things that are out of our control, because the more time you focus on the negative, the more negative things happen or kind of come into your life. I just try to think, okay, it's not happening now, so I'm going to be positive about it. And that kind of segues into another thing, and that is when you talk about things on social media. So if you talk about anything that's dramatic, political, cursing, you automatically don't get suggested views. So even saying the name of the last president or the name of the thing that happened in 2020, all of a sudden you won't be suggested. So those are all things to kind of be aware of. Yes, it is frustrating, but at the same time, it's just a fact of life in that we just have to be super hyper aware of what's going on. Now, I was with a friend at a party, and she was telling me how she was designing the algorithm for YouTube, which is really cool. So she was telling me all the secrets and stuff of how people are getting suggested and how people weren't getting suggested, and it is definitely a very, very cool place. They favor women, they favor ethnicity, and they favor longer content. So knowing that, it's like, okay, how do you kind of stand through all the people out there? And it's just making content that these platforms want to see. Positive, ad-friendly content. So if anyone out here is a conspiracy theorist, I'm sorry, or have, a lot of any negative things to say, it's harder to kind of grow your brand like that. But I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I just think there are ways to kind of navigate around what people are saying on the internet to kind of just put yourself out there in a different light, because it is your brand. Any questions?
Are there exceptions to that rule?
There's always exceptions.
Notable exceptions.
So if you're already famous and you already kind of have a voice, a lot of platforms will what they call whitelist. So they'll whitelist you, so then you kind of won't kind of fall into that like web of demonetization. But for the normal everyday person, they look at what you're wearing, they look at the brands on your shirt. It's a whole thing that you wouldn't like think about, but then you realize, oh wow, all these factors are coming into play. Any questions? No? Okay.
I do have a question. So you were saying you make most of your money, or make your money online. Are there particular platforms that you focus on to get to your target audience, your demographic? And I guess, how do you structure your content around who your target audience is? Or I don't know how you exactly make your money online. I know a bunch of ways through social media, so.
Yeah, so there are a lot of different things that people can do on social media. There are a lot of different platforms. I started out on YouTube, so it was through AdSense, which is like Google's way of placing ads before or in the middle or after your videos, and then you get like a certain percentage depending on like the clicks per million. So how many views you get determine how much money the AdSense you get on your channel. And also, like if your content is family friendly, if it's brand safe, they have different levels of how high the CPM will be. So that's one of the ways that you make money. Now, Facebook in the last few years actually started also doing this where they were paying per views, and actually so does TikTok. So that is a great way to make money. But for somebody starting out, like I said, when I first started out, I was acting in people's videos. So I auditioned for this web series that went super viral, and it was great. They didn't pay me as much as they made. They got bought by Google, so they really kind of hit the jackpot. I was in these Lady Gaga parodies that were getting like 50 million views in a day. It was crazy, and I saw the power of, oh wow, look, they're just making their own content. I can make my own content. I don't have to wait to be cast in things. I don't have to audition for stuff. I could just be in all these different projects. So I thought that was really cool, and that's why I started doing my videos on social media. And I started in the comedy space, but then I realized, as you know, my friends who had this company, they had about 20 different employees, and then it was just me getting my friends in favors to like help me shoot these comedy sketches. And I'm like, oh, this is way too much. I realized this is way too much work for not that much of a reward. I saw that when I was doing like really simple videos, I would get a lot more views. So I kind of switched my content to more lifestyle type of content. After seeing that, it's really a trial and error with your own stuff, and it's like it was a learning and growing experience to see what would work in terms of my audience. Now, on all my platforms, my audiences are different. On TikTok, it's mainly like 9 to 15-year-old girls. on YouTube, it's 18 to 35-year-old guys, and probably the same on my Facebook page. I think there's also a little bit of an older audience. I have a lot of older women who want to go thrift store shopping with me, which is really cool. And it's definitely interesting. On Twitch, it's mainly a video game audience, people who like to game, and mainly probably 18 to 35-year-old men. So it's different on every platform. I was doing comedy and some fitness stuff, so depending on what I do on each platform, you get a different audience, if that answers your question. But how I really started to make money on social media was through brand deals. That is where I figured it out. So that would be my advice, would be, yes, AdSense is great. And I have friends who just bought like huge mansions in Sherman Oaks and are able to really kind of take off from their channels. But while you're growing it,
when you're saying brand, you're getting brand content like shoes, shirts, hats, cars, whatever.
Mattresses. I bought a new house. I had mattresses to come to my door, hair products, skin products.
So you're basically, when they're making films, they do placement, they call it.
Yes.
You do the same thing, it's placement.
Product placement.
Product placement. say your little, how long are your video?
So it just depends on how much they're paying. So it's all different scales. So if somebody wants to buy, 20 seconds in the beginning of the video, or 20 seconds in the middle of the video, or 20 seconds at the end. If they want a whole video, that's a little bit more expensive. That's a lifestyle video of me going somewhere and doing whatever it is they offer. I like to collaborate with a lot of beauty spa places, and I'll go and I'll get free PRP treatment, or I'll go shopping, and I'll do like a live interaction with people on my channel.
How does that branding, because you said you do a lot of lifestyle stuff, so what was your intention going into, like, who are you as a brand, and like what is your message, and how do you stay focused on that message without getting lost in just like being a brand representative?
That is the hardest. That was actually the next segue that I was doing, because sometimes you'll get people sending you their products and they don't work, or they're garbage, and it's having to be able to tell them, I'm really sorry, but I don't think it's a good fit. So that's it's kind of, I had a life reading by, I don't know if you guys know Joan of Angels. I met her here last year. And she told me, she goes, Lauren, your life mission is to say no. And I kind of get that, because I feel really bad, because a lot of companies, they have these products, it's their babies, and you don't want to say no to people. But, you have to learn how to say no in a nice way, because it is your brand. And I look at my followers as my friends, because a lot of them have been following me for over 10 years. I have fans who have gotten married to each other. It's just, it's a really interesting community and world that you kind of go into. So you don't want to specifically hurt anyone or have anyone spend their hard-earned money on something that doesn't work for them. So every company that I do work with, and that's also part of being conscious, I make sure that I try the product out first. I make sure I do a lot of research, especially with a lot of the doctoral kind of things, because it's I don't want anyone to get sick from things. Like, I would get a lot of supplements, so I would try them for a month before I would promote them. And just, if you communicate with people in a real and honest way, and you really feel like you connect with the brand, I think it's fine. There's actually the product that I use for my hair. They paid me to do this, to use their curlers, like probably 5 years ago, and I still use them to this day. So I make sure that they're all things that I resonate with. And it's hard to say no to money sometimes. It is.
Obviously, brand deals are like kind of later in the game for someone. So what is your best suggestion for someone who's just starting their page and starting to build their brand, and getting to that point of like, can you reach out to people to say, hey, like, I'm doing this in this niche, and I want to represent your products, like, and then that's how they get their following. Does that happen, or do you really have to have like a big following?
No, brands all the time will work with micro influencers, because they want to have customers on their product list that they could show, look at this, happy person that's a healthy person using our product. So you never know, and it doesn't hurt to reach out. It's always, I think when you're reaching out to brands, it's like a nice, they're like, oh, thank you for liking or being interested in our project and our product. So I think it's all just being positive about it, because a lot of times we can get in our heads about stuff, and you're like, oh, why would they want to work with me? Or like, I'm, and that's going to limit you. Whereas if you're just like, okay, I don't care, what's that thing people say? If people who matter don't mind, that quote, people who mind don't matter. Yeah. So it's that whole kind of philosophy of just, you kind of ignoring everything else and just focusing on the positive of it, and just stay posting. Because I know it can get really disheartening when you post something and it doesn't do well, or you think that you have this awesome video out there, but not a lot of people see it. There are other ways to kind of...
Right, there's that phenomenon where there's like a big disconnect, like you think this video is just going to be like slamming, like people are going to love it, and then there's no likes, like what's going on? It's like, that's a real phenomenon, right?
Yeah, it is.
What is that called? the bubble. I call it the bubble of illusion. Like I'm in my bubble of illusion, and I'm thinking it's great, but you know.
Well, I've worked with a lot of brands, and a lot of times brands will create these amazing, high-produced videos, and they'll put them out, and they don't get any views. And there's a theory. It's like you can put all the money into the video, but if you don't have money for the promotion of the video, it's kind of like a movie. If you don't market the movie, who is going to know about the movie to go see it? So it's figuring out the underground ways of seeding and social media. Because that's how they say Lady Gaga got famous. She had a whole company behind her doing internet seeding of her stuff so that people could kind of find her. So that's why I hired my friends in the Philippines. So they would share my videos on all the blogs I could find that were related to my content. If I was doing a horror comedy video, I'd be like, okay, let's research the top 200 horror blogs and send my videos to them. Let's make relationships with the people who are kind of putting the content out there, all the people who write people up, and let's figure out how to do that. And if it's hard to kind of make those one-on-one relationships, it's figuring out, okay, who can I pay for as little as possible to get my video out there. So one of my favorite tools for marketing and advertising, and I tell this to a lot of brands who will come to me to make a video, is using Google AdSense or using Facebook ads for marketing. Because once it kind of gets up there, you can kind of trick the algorithm so that it gets more suggested views. So that's a way to kind of get there faster. It just costs money.
How do you come up with continuous original content? Because when I see people that are doing like skits, I'm like, it can't be one person that's thinking. There has to be a team. There has to be. How do people come up like once a week?
It is draining, and I've been doing this probably for over 15 years. So it's figuring out. And there's also this amazing book that I read years ago, Steal Like an Artist. And I always tell people, because there's so many, nothing is original. Nothing out there is original. So it's just finding something that you resonate with and paying homage to it, and just figuring out your own way to make something in your voice. And it's also daily things that inspire you every day. It's, going to the coffee shop and waiting for your coffee and they got your name wrong. Or, it's finding those funny moments that you see that you can kind of make fun of yourself for. And then it's also looking at other people's content and saying, okay, how can, I'm a huge, huge fan of old college humor videos. How do I make my own content like this? And then how also can I get suggested in the algorithm? Or there was this girl who was making these new sketches that YouTube was featuring, and it was all about what's happening now in current events, but in a nice, PC, very family-friendly way. So it's figuring out, okay, what are these people doing, and how can I do it in a different way, because they inspire me. It's not copying if you're inspired. And there's also a huge community online that just does reactions. I have friends that, they are making millions a year on reacting to movies online. It's crazy. Just, you sit home with your friends, your best friend or your boyfriend or your mom, and you watch videos and millions of people will see it. Me and my mom, we react to videos in India and the Philippines, and people love it. Millions of views. It's just commercials that make you cry. And it's all just kind of connecting with the viewers and with the fans to kind of grow that audience. Any questions?
Is there a channel or a place that lists all these different spots, content, or whatever? There must be some place we go, I can look up cats or dogs or appliances or this. Isn't it like YouTube has a breakdown of every single thing?
YouTube, you can just Google on YouTube and you'll see whatever comes up first in their suggested video. And if you keep going down and down, there's millions of videos you could look at and you could watch, and they could potentially inspire you to make your own video about cats.
And also, they call it a channel, right? So if somebody every single week, I know cats and dogs and kittens and all, and they usually have it. It's like, I think it's the same channel with the same people doing like a 30 minutes or, sorry, a minute, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and they're doing it every week and week out. And then when people watch it, are they paid automatically by Google
AdSense.
at 60-40%, right?
Just depending, like some people can sign with a YouTube network and they get like a different percentage. But I mean, if you're a big channel and you, like, let's say you're a big channel, I won't say any names specifically of channels, but let's say you get 1 million views, you're probably getting, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 per video.
So then Google is paying you, but aren't they trying to sell something in that particular content?
Well, they're placing their ads.
Okay, so basically then people make money off the advertisement, like always. It always has been that.
Yeah, so like if you make a video and they put an ad for, you know, bubblegum on the video and one of your viewers clicks on that ad, you'll get a higher CPM because they're actually clicking on it, and then YouTube will say, okay, they're clicking on his ads, let's put more people behind him.
You have content where there is no advertising. There's no money being made at all, right?
Yep. If they're not, you can have the option to not put ads on your videos.
Right.
But then you have to also remember that YouTube is probably not going to suggest you for other people to watch because they want to promote people who are, you know, within the system of making ads.
And literally, how many people are putting ads on YouTube? 1 million?
Millions. Google Ads is a huge business. You can put ads on Google with just your name. You can do video ads. There's so many things you can do.
Is there an influencer that's inspired you or has been in your mentor? Or are you a mentor to a bunch of
I mean, I have worked with and met so many different influencers over the years. One of the coolest ones I worked with was Bo Burnham. He was awesome. Bo was really cool. I was in his Words video, and just to see how he made these comedy songs and developed it into directing feature films was amazing. That's kind of my goal in terms of what I'm doing. And I've recently, the past 2 years, I've been crowdfunding features. So I've been kind of getting money from going on Indiegogo and sharing my bigger projects to my audience to kind of support and put money into, which is cool.
I was going to ask, how do you structure yourself in terms of like, because this is your full-time business, right? So
Yeah.
How do you structure? Because it's very time-consuming and can be very like a rabbit hole, no pun intended, where we're sitting, but you know, it can be very consuming. So how is it that you can structure your day if you're doing it a full-time or if you're doing it part-time? Like, what do you suggest? Like 1 hour in the morning for research, 1 hour in the morning for posting? Like, how does that work? Because it can be very like...
It's super draining.
Yeah.
It's super draining. A lot of my friends that are super successful, they don't have a life. Like, yes, they're making millions a year off their channel, but they're working 17-hour days. It's definitely interesting. And then their wives or their girlfriends are getting harassed by their followers because when you're living a life on social media, it's much different. Like, I've had people show up to my house. I've had people show up to my parents' work and be like, with their luggage, like, "You're my soulmate, Lauren." And I'm like, no. And then you call the cops, and the cops are just like, "Well, did you tell them not to show up?" And it's just like this whole kind of weird kind of gray area that hasn't kind of been approached. It's like it's like that celebrity level status without the enough money to buy a bodyguard. It could be really scary. So those are all things you just have to be aware of when you're posting.
That brings me to a segue that I'm sure this has crossed everybody's mind. I really appreciate some YouTubers who put out good content, but they're pseudonymous. Like, you never know what their real name is, or you know what they're about, but so I just wanted to know what is the climate if I was to become a pseudonymous YouTuber? Is that like frowned upon? Is that cool, or is that like no, for you to be respected, you have to put your real name?
It's all what you kind of, as a person, or what you want to do. It's all what you want to do. Like, if you don't want to go out there and risk, I have friends who are like, "Oh, I have this great, insurance job. I don't know if I want to, go out there and be internet famous." So it's just what you're comfortable with. I have a friend who, for years, no one knew his face. He would do these really, really funny videos where he prank called people. And I mean, he was a huge YouTuber, and it got to the point where he was getting, you know, TV show offers and TV show deals, and then finally he was like, okay, I'm ready to kind of be this. I'm ready to come out and tell people who I am. So I think it's just a personal preference of like, okay, I am confident in what I'm doing and that I can do this.
So it sounds like your answer was it's okay to be pseudonymous in the beginning, and if you want to come out, you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, there are all types of channels that do like 30-second facts, or, you know, those videos, those travel kind of videos where you can just edit things together and make a great living online. I remember when I first started my channel and I was seeing how I could do all this from home, I was just like, I looked at my parents and I'm like, what are you guys doing? You should just make YouTube channels and just shoot videos all day. This is amazing. So it just depends on like your comfort level and what it is that you want to do. Any questions?
And the best thing is every week or every day to put out?
I mean, if you could do every day, but then it's going to be hard to actually have a life. So that's the balance. And once you start posting and getting in an algorithm, you don't want to change it, because there's all sorts of math that goes into it with suggested video and the length of the videos and your watch time.
And I know this one woman does air fryers. She checks out all the air fryers, and I think she's paid by the air fryers companies.
Uh-huh.
So that's why the review is slightly biased.
Are there any negative air fryer videos out there?
I don't think most are pretty positive. Like, here's 10 air fryers, and I don't know there's any ads in it. So somehow I think they're all being promoted by the air fryer company. So indirectly go, oh, they're so beautiful. All of them are great and wonderful. You know that's not possible.
Well, yeah, and who knows? I mean, maybe like me, maybe if she's tried an air fryer and it doesn't work, she won't do it. But you can't trust everybody, you know, to be honest, unless you kind of watch their work and know or get a feel. I'll get feelings. Like, my intuition will tell me, okay, this is a paid advertisement if I'm watching it. So there's always that, like, checking with your gut before you're going to work with someone or before you're going to post something, because generally it's true. Generally it's, okay, this is where we have to kind of like be more grounded in who we work with.
And what do you think about, like, before I buy something, I like to review it. So how honest are the reviews and comparisons?
It just depends on who you're looking at. If you're looking at somebody with millions of followers and they've only said positive things, then they're probably doing brand deals. If you're looking at somebody who sometimes does say negative things, then you know it's a negative review. It's just looking at something and just being super aware of it. But now we're going to talk about Facebook, because Facebook is amazing. I'm on there now. I have 2 million followers on there. And one of the ways I kind of grew my Facebook was sharing the videos to different groups, to different areas, and asking my viewers to share. So there's a way of doing live on Facebook that we're doing right now. I'm doing Facebook and Twitch. And basically, I was able at one point to get like 1 million views per video because Facebook was promoting Facebook Live. So one of the things I recommend is to just stay on top of what these apps are doing and changing within their algorithm. So if Instagram is promoting Reels, you start doing a lot of Reels. Right now, YouTube is promoting Shorts, and I have friends that are making thousands of dollars a month and have grown their channels to over 1 million subscribers because they just focused on doing Shorts. So it's reverse engineering and figuring out what the new thing is and what people are promoting when you're doing it. What kind of brands do you have, or what kind of channels do you guys want to make?
Oh,
yeah.
I may be the wrong person to ask. Sorry. No, actually, my question was, how do you get the intel on the algorithms? Like, do you have connections with the Facebook people, the YouTube? That's a good investment, right?
I mean, it's going out, it's networking with people, and it's finding, oh, this person works at that place, and it's talking to different people. It's looking up online. There's a bunch of informational channels within each platform. I remember, like, YouTube, when they first kind of got bought by Google, they had a YouTube playbook. So you go through, you see who's doing the playbook, and you can ask questions, you can make friends. A lot of the people who are making the videos or working for these platforms, they want to have a following and fan base, so they will answer your questions because they're growing as well.
So to answer your question, like, I wanted to start a holistic, like, concierge service. So basically I would find resources, doctors, remedies for people that are searching for like holistic remedy to their chronic ailment or illness.
Mm-hmm.
What was your question?
So my advice for you would be to look up other brands or other companies or other people who are doing similar things and see what kind of content they're promoting. I would say make a funny video on TikTok, which I know you're not, about like not knowing what to do for something, and then going like, I did a cool sculpting video where it was promoted, but it was basically like me getting cool sculpting, and I was like, how people think I work out, and I'm like really working out, and then like me getting cool sculpting. So if you could find ways to either make fun of it, or if you're the type of person, like, I don't know if you've seen any of those videos on TikTok that are just these like beautiful, like scenic things of a place with like the fun music behind it, and it doesn't have to be you. And you just put video the store, video the healing bed, and saying something nice in the caption, or saying, having some kind of nice life message over the video, and doing that on a consistent basis. Yeah.
Is this meeting about to end?
I don't know.
Okay. I gotta ask this question before I leave. So now she was talking about original content, right now? You were talking about that, and do you have any thoughts on AI and the use of AI to generate content and help you post?
I think it's amazing, and I'm always like, I was at the forefront of 360 videos, which is really cool. I had a friend that worked at Google, and he kind of did a 360 video with me, and it went viral, because when you're doing something that people are just starting to promote, that's when you can kind of get into the algorithm, and it's a lot easier because less people are doing it. So that would be my advice. If there's any kind of AI thing that you're interested that relates to your brand, I would definitely try to go there. I don't know if you guys saw all the pictures people were posting with the beautiful AI images. It's jumping on a trend, and it's better to kind of, they always say they're like these tentpole things, and it's you want to jump on the trend before the wave goes up, because then you can ride the wave. If you jump on the trend after the wave, then all of a sudden it's like you're not going to get any of that wave.
Stock market.
Yeah. So it's similar to the stock market, because you'll kind of rise up and you'll get into all those suggested videos and you'll get more fans from it. Whereas if you waited too long to jump on the trend, you're not gonna advance from all of that. So those are just.
How many hours a week would you say that you put into making? And doesn't it feel like a job? I have this fantasy that if you're a YouTube star, you're just living the lavish. You don't have to work too much. It's like so much better than having like a square job. What's your take? Like, does it feel like easier?
It's different. You get to be your own boss, because I've worked for people before, and it's frustrating to have to answer to people, and sometimes you have an employee who tries to get you in trouble because they have no one else to blame. So then it's all of a sudden you're your own boss, which is my favorite part of it. Is it easy? It's way easier for me to just, work a 9 to 5. Like if I were just going to work and not having to worry about, creating my content, it would just be so much easier. It's so much harder to kind of like, really brainstorm the videos. You meet with writer groups, and come up with the content, shoot the content, edit the content, and then you think it's over, but it's not, because you have to promote the content. So it is a lot of work. It's kind of like when people tell you, oh, do you really want to be an actor? And they're like, only do it if you love it. Because if you start investing all your time into it and you're like, oh my God, I feel burnt out, I can't do it, then it's not for you. But I do highly suggest it to any friends that I have. It's just figuring out a way to do it. Like you talked before about trying to come up with concepts. Maybe that you have a group of friends that are really funny, and you can kind of meet with them on a weekly basis and say, okay, I'm not going to create a channel for myself, but we're going to do a group together, and we're going to come up with like 5 different ideas to shoot within the month. So it's figuring out what works for you and your schedule. so you can build it, because it doesn't happen overnight. Definitely doesn't happen overnight unless you're really lucky and something goes viral.
So once you put it on the YouTube or Facebook or whatever other platform, then you're gonna have to advertise through the same places basically to get it out there through Facebook and YouTube and blah, blah, blah.
Yes, but if you don't have money to advertise, you could research different blogs, or what kind of content are you making? Are you interested in
Well,
doing?
I have a couple of, I'm an environmental inventor, number one, and it's a way to save the planet, so alternative energy, cleaning up the atmosphere is one. I do stand-up also. I wrote a screenplay called Six Extinction, talking about the planet going under, but and the inventor actually saved the planet, but anyway. And a self-esteem book, so I'm a Gemini, you know.
Yes. So you need different channels, a couple of different channels.
Yeah.
I would say, like, it's hard to start a channel. You don't want to start dumping your money into it before you've made any money.
Well, what if you hook up with other organizations that are already doing it? You know, like Piggy Bank. Wouldn't that be a better way to go?
Yeah, that would be great. You know, if you could find an organization that says, hey, I really need a video, you want to help me create this video, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Where do you find a list of these different...
Google. Google it.
Google the different providers, basically, who are already doing this stuff.
I love LinkedIn because it has a lot of people's emails there. So you could just go on LinkedIn and you could figure it out like that. You could say, okay, this person is a director of marketing. Let me reach out to them. Or, okay, this is their name. Let me go stalk them on Instagram. It's like, how good are your, private investigator skills so that you can go and find those people that are necessary for your brand. But I would also say sharing your video into the big Facebook groups that do have environmentally friendly kind of content that they want people to share. And whether you're, developing your own group on Facebook, which I highly recommend, because groups kind of grow faster than pages do. So more people are likely to join. Oh, so groups on Facebook grow faster than like pages. So if you're creating a group that's like it's a function, it's a collaborative place for people. More people are gonna want to kind of go into your group than like your like page on Facebook. It's just kind of human biology where they'll see that you're having a collaborative place and people will want to join it.
There's only 3 people asking the same question, though. But
Okay.
As far as simple web-based subscriptions, monthly subscriptions, there's a couple in Tennessee that are from a rural town. One's a librarians, one's a high school football coach. I don't know if you heard it. So they just did a web-based subscribe site and talked about librarians and high school football. They ended up selling their sites for like $3 million. So I'm just curious about that method, because there's a bunch of people retiring. It's like they want to do something different. So I don't know what your advice would be.
Are you talking about like growing a page and then selling the page
Correct.
that you grow?
Correct.
I don't know if that's legal on social media, so I didn't say anything. But I've had a lot of people offer to buy my pages from me, which I would never sell them just because I work so hard. I think there was I don't want to say his name, but there's a big influencer on YouTube who just recently got $1 billion offer for one of his channels and all his platforms, and he said no to it. So it's just, you don't want to, you really don't, I wouldn't want to sell my brand, but there are some people who do, and that's okay. If somebody's going to buy your personal brand, it's going to be really hard to keep that audience engaged unless they're buying you with it. Because, all those followers and fans are for the people who have it. So that's the hard point there.
I have a question, because mine is, I don't even know what to ask. So I work with an artist, and he does, we do workshops, like art workshops. And so I don't even know, so he's like, oh, here you guys get together and like, let's get my YouTube channel going. But I'm like, do I focus on him? Do I focus on what's going on in the workshops? Like, do I don't even know where to start, because it seems so, it's art and creativity.
Yeah, so I would focus on growing my own personal brand instead of just like growing his brand. brand, but you could grow his brand within yours. And art and creativity is such a great space to grow. I always say I wish I could draw really well, because some of those videos just go viral. You know, you just film somebody's hands drawing, and it's like those things that people watch to just relax, and they do a time lapse of it, and it does amazing. I have this friend, she blew up on TikTok. She has over 1 million on TikTok now, and all she does, she just draws. She does live streams drawing. She does, you know, she does like speed videos of it. So she'll like just speed up the hour kind of her drawing. And it does really, really well. And people will search for that too. There's also, you know, you could do how-to drawing tips. There's, you know, before and after. You can kind of show the gallery.
Yeah, because, you know, what we would like is people to come to the workshops and then join, you know, keep growing. Because, I mean, people show up, but we're kind of like, where are they showing up from? Like, it would be nice to build a community, but it's just very loose.
It's just, it's having that schedule of going through all of those social media places and kind of, you know, having it all in one place. And, you know, maybe you need to hire somebody to not post for you, but to say, okay, we shot 3 hours worth of content today. I'm going to help you guys edit it and cut it and post it to 5 different platforms. And that's where I kind of would start to get an intern who's, you know, maybe gets a free workshop and now will, you know, spend 5 hours a week developing, cutting, and organizing that content for you. That's a good way to start. I also tell everybody when they start their YouTube channel to hide your subscribers right away, just because people are more likely to subscribe if they think you have a bigger audience. So until you get, you know, 10,000, I say just hide the subscribers. That definitely does help. And then it's also titling, tagging, and it's looking at other artists online and saying, okay, this person got, you know, 20 million views because she drew a picture of Lady Gaga. And how recently that picture she drew was. And it's saying, okay, I'm gonna, you know, draw my own picture of Lady Gaga, and I'm gonna look at vidIQ, and I'm gonna see how they titled and tagged it, and maybe my video will get related next to that picture. It's trying to reverse engineer it so you can kind of come up in suggested video, and like, what are people searching for? So, you know, the Super Bowl right now, everyone's searching for. So figure out some kind of content you can do based on that. But right now, it's at the end of the tent pole, so you should have actually made your Super Bowl content like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so it's figuring all of that out. Any other questions?
Just to go on what you were saying about how it's almost easier to have like a 9-to-5 job because it's set and it's structured, and it takes so much time to make content and editing. And I was thinking about doing like some influencing because I actually love making content. Like I can sit there for 12 hours making like a little video and I get lost in it. So I was wondering if you could touch more on like what are the dark sides of becoming an influencer?
Oh.
You know, like.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of darkness to my viewers right there. I think the scariest would be anytime I would date somebody, I would get death threats, or they would get death threats, and then having people show up at your house, because you just come a lot more approachable. So you have to realize that. At one point, I had a really young fan that was a girl, and she met one of my older fans, and she didn't tell him how old she was, and there was all that kind of stuff. So you don't want to get too close to the followers because you don't know them, and some people, like, for the most part, 90% of people are awesome, but it's just that like weird like 10%, and then within that 10%, there's like 3% that are really, really dangerous. I have friends, I won't say their names, but they were living in Texas, really, really, really big YouTubers, and they just got engaged, and one of the girl's fans went so crazy, he showed up at her house with a gun and went inside the house. They hid in the closet, thank God, called the cops, and then he went outside and the cops shot the fan. So those are the cases. Those are like the worst case scenario. Now, if you're doing conscious life and spirituality, you're probably, hopefully not going to get those types of people, but you never know. There are crazy people everywhere, and you can't control people, you know? So, and a lot of people who watch videos online are very lonely. Sorry, guys. So you have to worry about them becoming too obsessed. So that could be bad too. And then in terms of other things that have happened, I've had multiple people try to pretend to be me. And then they'll reach out to my top fans and try to get them to give them money. I have a poor viewer, I won't say his name or where he's from, where he spent over $10,000 because he thought he was talking to me. And he was just writing some random person on WhatsApp, and he was sending this guy gift cards for me. And I just was like, because he finally ended up DMing me on Instagram, and he was like, I sent you tens and thousands of dollars. You were supposed to come visit me, and you never came. And I'm like, oh my God, like, that wasn't me. I'm so sorry. Like, and he had to file a police report. So, I mean, there are some really weird things that have happened.
So what safeguards do you put?
I mean, I just try to tell people while watching my videos, like, I will never ask you for money. I will never privately DM you on Facebook. I do get a lot of DMs. I remember I had got a free assistant or intern a few years ago. And his job was just to go through my Facebook messages. And he was just this like Christian person from Middle America, had just moved to LA, and he goes, oh my goodness, I have never seen so many private parts of different colors. Like, he was just like, it is crazy. So those are some of the things that being online, you can't control people.
You're gonna get some weird DMs.
Yeah, you're gonna get very, very weird DMs. If you date somebody and one of your viewers likes you, they might write that person that you're dating. You might get, like, I get a lot of women who like try to be like me, or they'll comment in my comments and they'll try to get my fans to give them money. It's very weird. It's very weird, and I have to be like, okay, this is not, I have to look through the comments and be like, okay, this woman's trying to solicit my fans to give them money. Like, it's just weird. People, a lot of times too, people will try to be your friend just so that you'll shout them out on social media. Like, my ex-boyfriend now has a huge social media page because I taught him social media. So you just have to kind of be aware of the people around you that are going to want to kind of, yeah. It's definitely interesting, but it is necessary right now because everything is on social media. Like, my parents were like, oh, it's going to go away, people aren't going to use it, but it's here, and it is a huge aspect for businesses now, especially Google Ads. To get more businesses. People don't really use the yellow pages anymore. It's all social media. And one of the cool things that I've been doing is crowdfunding features. So using the Indiegogo platform with my fans to make money to make my own movies. So there are all sorts of things that you could crowdfund. And it's definitely really interesting. Any questions?
If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently? And do you consult? I
do consulting jobs as well. I guess, I don't know if I'd do anything differently if I do it over again. There's no regrets here. The only thing, I just wish I had more of me so that I could spend more time shooting, uploading, and creating the content. And then also, sometimes, the thing that's awful is that my main passion is acting. So if I get booked for a movie and I have to be gone for 3 weeks, it's really, really hard because then all my social media that I've worked so hard on goes totally down. And as an actor, you meet people and they're like, oh, what's your waitressing job? And I'm like, no, I do social media. I bought my house with it. Thank you. So there is benefits of doing it, but it's, you have to be aware of everything that kind of goes along with it.
Do you think that Instagram's going to do something about the impersonating accounts? It's like a big problem I see. All the influencers I follow, they all have impersonators, trying to come to us.
Yeah, well, that's why I got verified, which was cool, because I had a lot of people impersonating me. And I feel like it's just, they're such a big company, but it's hard for them to kind of monitor it all. It's really hard, and it's also an algorithm thing. So
how did you get verified?
I think that I had a bunch of accounts, creating accounts of me and, reaching out to my followers, trying to get money. And then I think I knew somebody at Facebook, and they saw what was happening, and they just verified me. It happened, and it was great. I can't say, a lot of my friends are like, I can't get verified, or I can't do it. I feel like back in the day it was a little bit easier. Now it's harder to get verified. So.
Since you went through this hardship with fans and things like that, have you hired like a publicist or a reputation manager to handle all these death threats and stalkers and crazy fans?
I've had people that I have worked with after. I do have a publicist, Wade Jet PR, who's amazing, that I deal with when it comes to some of these things, because it's frustrating. You'll get into business with somebody and then, you know, you realize, oh, they're just trying to get my followers or something. It's definitely really hard, and it's kind of the whole more money, more problems thing. It's like the more kind of stuff that you do, the more potential for things to kind of go wrong. So you just have to make sure that you know, are aware of it. In terms of like hiring regular PR, I try to only hire PR if I have something to talk about, or if I have something that I don't want to talk about. So I do it like that. But there are all sorts of people. Like I had this girl that used to do PR for me for like a couple $100 a week, and she would just basically, you know, I found her, I think on Twitter or something, and she would just get me different articles. Because PR is really expensive. You can spend like $5,000 a month on PR. So it's just trying to find like the best options for the least amount of money.
What about crowdfunding? Are you doing crowdfunding right now?
Right now I don't have a project on crowdfunding, but I just did a feature in November that we raised $100,000 for, which was really cool.
So it takes a lot of work to put a crowdfunding
Yes.
together.
Oh yes. It's a labor of love. But it's been cool because I was able to do about 8 movies in the past 2 years, which also has taken away time from my social media. Sorry, guys. But it's been really awesome because some of the movies have gotten distribution, and I get to act in them, I get to put my friends in them, and then I get to kind of show the process on the YouTube. So it's definitely been really fun. I have friends that have made products and developed things from doing crowdfunding. I met the man, Slava, who created Indiegogo when it first started. And it's just really cool. And something I've learned is that like the world is really small, and it just keeps getting smaller. So you just have to be nice to everybody that you meet. Really, it's really interesting.
Are you passionate about causes? Speaking of crowdfunding.
Yes, I am so passionate about different causes. Yes. There's a mentor that I have whose daughter has reverse Rett syndrome, and it is a disorder that only females get. So that's one of the main things that I am passionate about. But also, I do work with a lot of women's missions because I'm a woman, and I care about people, and I definitely support a lot of women's missions. There's different organizations that I do promote on a monthly and weekly basis to my fans. At one point, I was promoting water to be clean in Tanzania because that was very, very important. But it's so hard because there's so many different organizations, and of course because of dogs and my child over there, I love animals. So the ASPCA is my #1 doggy organization. There's also an organization that I work with called Mighty Hearts. My dog went into heart failure 3 years ago after I bought my first house, and it was just, the vet gave him 2 weeks to live, and I didn't want to take no for an answer. So I researched what I could do, and there were 2 doctors in the world that did this open heart surgery on dogs. So I went to London. I figured out, I don't know how, because there was like a waiting list of 2 years, but I was writing Bob Proctor on Instagram, and I was like, he was just like, this is before when he was alive, and he's like, be positive. And I was like, okay. And then they fit me in, and I went to London for a month with him, and now he's fine. So Mighty Hearts organization is also very big for me, because without meeting them on Facebook, actually a Facebook group, I wouldn't have known there were other options for my dog. So yeah.
Can I ask which
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck with your channels.
Thank you.
What platform is the most lucrative, or your favorite, at least?
Honestly, it's whichever platform that you kind of vibe with the most. Because if you really like a platform, you're going to spend more time on it. You're going to kind of understand it more. You're going to be able to, I guess, get into the rhythm of it more. That's why I kind of liked Facebook at the time. I was doing a show with Playboy. which was when Playboy was trying to do, they were focusing on doing non-nudity, so I never did nudity. So they hired me to do a comedy cooking show, which was cool. And I was being promoted on their channel, so that kind of helped me get a boost on Facebook. But it was really fun to do live streams on there for me. At one point, I really loved doing Snapchat because I love the face filters. So it's finding whichever platform you're vibing with the most and then taking advantage of it. In terms of like being lucrative, you can't really, it's hard to say it, but if you focus on like thinking about like making money for it, it's just not gonna, it's just like the wrong way to think. You have to like think, okay, am I gonna have fun doing this? Because if it becomes a job, then it's not fun and you're not gonna wanna do it. That's something I learned is like, it's not gonna be fun. But if you can just do something, you know, that you like to do, then it'll come. In terms of like AdSense, YouTube and Facebook are definitely safe bets. YouTube, I think, has a partner program, but you have to get like a certain amount of watch time, a certain amount of views, and a certain amount of subscribers to be considered for it. So, yeah.
You mentioned Bob Proctor, so do you
Yes.
believe in the law of attraction?
Of course.
What do you use? What daily ritual do you do?
Well, my favorite YouTube channel is the Law of Attraction Solutions. I don't know if you know Robert Zhang. He's amazing. They have, I think, over 1 million followers. And I was going through a breakup at the time, and I was just so depressed. And I was like, okay, and I'm like searching all these things, and I found him. And I really just love listening to the meditations before bed. I found were really, really helpful in terms of staying positive. Like if I'm having a rough day, or if I feel like, you know, I'm having like all these energy vampires like attacking me, I'm like, okay, I gotta listen to my meditations. And yeah, but one of the things that he says is great is to be your own star in your own life. And he suggested like just, you know, putting stars on your ceiling so that's the first thing that you see when you wake up. So you're just focused on that, and you're focused on kind of just the bigger picture of being positive. It's very important because what you focus on is what you become. Yep.
How do you spell his last name?
Robert Zank. I think it's Z. It's Law of Attraction Solution. Is really, he's really great. He's in Arizona. He does a lot of life coaching and stuff too. He's one of my coaches. He's great. He's amazing.
Is that like Z-A-N?
I think it's Z-I-N-K. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I don't think he's watching this, but.
What's the best way to contact you for consulting?
I want my Lauren@gmail.com.
I'm sorry?
I want my Lauren@gmail.com is my email. So yeah. Definitely, you know, just my main advice would be to stay consistent on social media, because that's the hardest part. It's like if you spend so much energy doing it and then all of a sudden like stop doing it, then it will go down. It's very hard.
Your followers won't stay loyal if like you take a break for a couple weeks?
I mean, some of them do, but they also, you know, they'll find other people to follow. Because if they're coming to you if they're coming to you on a consistent basis, then, you know, and you're not there, they're going to find somebody else. So it's really that. One of the things that my friend does is that he'll shoot 11 videos in a day for people. He does specifically social media video creation. So he'll shoot 11 videos in a day, and then he'll have enough content for the month, depending on how many times the person uploads. So that's a good way to do it too, is like, okay, I don't have time to do social media, but I'm going to put, you know, these 2 days aside and just plan it out, shoot all my content in those 2 days, and then you'll have content for the month. So that's a way to do it as well. It's just figuring out what's best for you. I realized with what I do, I started doing reactions on my channel because I just saw just a way to kind of grow it better on my YouTube, not my Facebook. I have to be more daily with it to get into the algorithm.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you.
You've been really just a fountain of insight and wisdom, and I'd like to know if I can just remember this moment with a quick photo.
What time is it now? Is it over yet?
It's halftime.
Oh, is it halftime? Is it the Super Bowl? What are the scores? Is it over?
Go Chiefs.
Oh. Yeah, and 12. Okay, in like maybe 5 minutes. Anyone have questions? No question?
Your best website or social media?
My best social media is Facebook. It's definitely Facebook.
What's your all-time favorite video?
My all-time, that I was in or that other people were
You're
in?
in.
Oh, my Space Girl videos. I really love my Space Girl videos. Those are really fun. Yeah, yeah.
So is it under your name?
Yeah, Space Girl.
I have a character named Space Girl.
Oh, cool. Where is that? What is that? What is that? On what?
I created a whole universe. I do art. I do music.
Oh, cool.
You guys can collaborate.
Yeah.
Action, comedy. I have an explosion of content. I just need help with like the structure and the technical logistical part. So that's what I've been figuring out.
What platform do you want, like, to grow it on?
I guess YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, and I'm just like I'm like a channel, an explosion of creativity, but just like putting together is the part that's been challenging.
It's a lot of work. One of the things I've been talking about is using vidIQ for YouTube. It's my favorite, vidIQ, and I think there's a free Chrome extension you can use, and that'll just help you with like titling and tagging the videos. That's definitely one of the main thing on YouTube is the titles and tags, and also the thumbnails are really important. You wouldn't think that they're important. Yeah, they're really what draws people in. And there's all sorts of psychology to, like, looking directly at a person, having it close up, having it pop out, because you're competing with a bunch of different people and you want to make sure that your videos shine through.
Yeah.
That's VIDIQ, no space.
Yeah, vidIQ. It's a Chrome extension. I mean, there's a paid version of it. I'm not making any money from them. But it definitely has helped me kind of get some of my videos in the algorithm. Like, I did a web series, and one of the titles of my video was like the top title, and because of that, the web series did decent, but that one video got like 6 million views. So it's figuring out how to get different keywords to rank in search, all like reverse engineering of the algorithm.
And just to make sure I heard you correctly, you said there's a difference between a Facebook page and a Facebook group.
Yes.
You should always go to the group.
Well, you do both. I would do both for sure. But a group could be a place like, let's say you're doing your specific business is, whatever wellness spa, and let's say you want to make a wellness community. So you would make a wellness community and just invite everybody in it. People who go to different spas around you to try to grow your business. A lot of times in like Google Ads or Google Marketing, that's how they do it. They'll basically like go to like who is ever searching for things, and that's how they'll recommend you. So you can kind of be your own Google Ads by doing it yourself, by looking at other groups of spas in your neighborhood, seeing who follows them, seeing the interaction that they're getting, and try to target their viewers within your own group. And you can invite other spa owners too. It's always good to be friends with people.
Obviously, yeah, people want community online because they're obviously maybe not getting it in their, whatever, neck of the woods.
Yeah.
In your description, you put something about using like your intuition.
Yes.
Where did you, or can you elaborate on it?
Yeah, so I was saying when I was talking about what you want to upload, that it's really, or I think it was maybe when I was saying when you're working with brands, it's really, really important to trust your gut. Because our guts, like, a lot of times, sometimes I'll get opportunities to collaborate with a really, really big person. Like, I had this friend come over, and he blew up. He has, like, maybe over 10 million on TikTok, and he's working with big people, but I had this weird feeling in my gut. I'm like, I don't know if I should waste my time doing this today, but I was like, okay, whatever, let me just be open. And he came over, and he filmed a bunch of videos with me. The only videos he posted were brand deals that he tricked me into doing for free for his channel, and then he didn't tag me. So there are a bunch of situations like that. That's another kind of negative situation of social media is like, a lot of people are going to be out for themselves. It's not like this. I feel like this community is a really nice, sacred, special community. Like everyone I've met here is like super loving and just really supportive, but you're not going to get that everywhere. So it's kind of feeling that. And it's also like maybe you have a viewer or a fan who kind of reaches out and says, oh, I want wellness. But then you find out they're like the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like it's one of those things where you have to just trust your gut and, feel that feeling in your stomach or in your throat that you get when you're like, okay, this isn't going right. And I always try to be positive And I always, I guess I should listen to Maya Angelou more, you know, if people show you that something's wrong, you know, but you just have to be positive.
There's this thing going around, like, about it's okay to be multidimensional, but then there's this other side that's like, stick with a niche, because then people trust you and it gets more successful faster. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's okay to be multidimensional?
It's good to be I love being multidimensional and going to different dimensions all the time. But you know, you just have to remember that we're in this dimension right now, and what we post on this specific place will do better within the algorithm. So if you stick to something, I mean, it's great to kind of branch out if you have the time, because this is all timing too. Because if you start focusing on different things, you're taking time away from the main thing. Like, let's say you decided, I'm going to make a garden YouTube channel, and gardening on YouTube is a really great niche because not a lot of people do it, and you can make a lot of money off of advertisement and gardening, you know. But then all of a sudden you're doing your gardening, you're like, okay, I want to do comedy now. All of those viewers who subscribe to you for gardening are going to see this comedy video, and they're not going to, they'll be like, yeah, they're going to skip it, they're going to close out the app, they're not going to do it, and then YouTube's algorithm is going to be really confused. They're going to be like, what's going on here?
So it's best to make a separate channel.
Yeah, a separate channel for specific niches. Like if you were going to be gaming, just do gaming on one. But what are the different niches that you have?
Well, I want to like review movies and music and like recommend music to people. But I also want to do spiritual stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could be like the spiritual movie reviewer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of like spiritual messages in movies.
Yeah,
so.
that's like, you know, I mean, it's a little different. Like, okay, I think that would work for you because not a lot of people are doing that, and it's like your own separate niche of doing it. I was kind of more thinking of like, well, if you're doing like movie reviews and then you're playing video games, or
like makeup.
Yeah, or makeup. Yeah, or makeup in video games, or something like that. But if you can kind of make it very, very detailed in that community, but then you also have to think, okay, what movies with spiritual messages are doing really well, and what other people are reacting to those movies, and look that up and say, okay, can I get myself suggested next to one of those videos?
What would you say to someone who does want to do totally different? Like if I say I want to do some dancing stuff too.
I would say if you can connect it to spirituality in movies, like maybe you're doing like the Tom Cruise dance or the Wednesday Addams dance in a spiritual way.
Yeah.
I would say if you can connect it to doing that, like go ahead. Or if you're doing YouTube shorts, YouTube has kind of made it so that like it doesn't mess up the algorithm. At first it was hard to do like long form videos and shorts because it was messing with watch time, but now they've changed that. So if you're doing shorts on YouTube with the dancing, it's fine. But if you want to make a professional dance channel, or if you want to be like Charlie D'Amelio on TikTok, who's doing the cool TikTok dances, I would say focus on one thing, or have that specific page focus on one thing.
Okay. I want to bring up pseudonymous identity. So you can post as a name, your spiritual movie review, but then do something else.
Yeah, like not be in it.
Right, not be in it. Yeah,
or wear a wig.
Right. There's limitations to just being you, you know, with your real name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a cool world, and movie reactions do great, and they're fun and easy to film. So that's why I love doing reaction videos, is because it's something that's like the lady that was over there was saying, how do you think of new ways to come up with content? It's really hard to think of sketches or things every single week, so it do those. So it's a good way to do it. Okay. Any more questions before we wrap up? No more questions?
I guess I have one more. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
If you say you are doing one niche, but you have multiple platforms, is it okay to post that one video on multiple platforms, or do you think you should like make it a little different?
It just depends on how much time you have. You know, sometimes I don't have time to make my videos different, and I'll put them on different I'll put the same video on multiple platforms, and they'll do great because my audiences are so different. I think it's different for each person, and then it's different for, you know, when you're growing your brand. I know when you post a YouTube video on Facebook, it doesn't do as well as if you're posting straight platform to straight platform, because their algorithms don't want you to leave. So that's something else to be aware of, is like, if you're on Facebook, don't post, your YouTube content, or if you're, if you are posting YouTube content, make sure you've uploaded an original video at the same time, just because it's all things they don't want people leaving their platform. But yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I want my Lauren Francesca, follow me, and good luck with your social media pages.
Next year, right? You'll be back?
Hopefully.
Yeah. It's funny you asked me about what my social media, because I never owned a cell phone, so
Oh.
I'm in the wrong.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of friends who have over like 100,000 of followers on
Yeah.
Instagram, so I'm trying to steer them in the right course.
Yeah.
So, but you can give me contact, but you can find an email.
Email, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your email again is.
I want my Lauren at Gmail.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to meet
All
you.
right, likewise.
Yeah.
Give you a hug again.
Yes.
This is your conscious.
Thank you.
That's funny. That's because my girlfriend, her dog, almost died too. So she ended up getting a job with the Civil Mercy Vet
Wow.
nationwide. So I'll send you that link.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Namaste.
Yeah.